All right, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. This is U2 is Pastor Down. I am in the Philadelphia, PA airport. I remember some time ago when I was in the military, I used to be in a unit called Op 4. It's down at the Jordan Randers Training Center, Fort Polk, Louisiana. We had a lot of special forces with us, Rangers. And the unit is a jump unit, a paratrooper unit. And of course, we were the opposing forces. We were the ones that would mimic a third world country. And then if the 82nd or the Rangers or Special Forces will come in, 10th Mountain, whoever it may be, they will be called Blue 4. Now the deal is that we would use technology that was back then on the Vietnam level. You know, we used Prick 77s, just primitive, you know, what we would call primitive things in order to agitate the Blue 4 and beat them. And I would tell you this, the whole time I was in the Joint Readiness Training Center, we never lost one battle. We always whipped the 82nd, the Rangers, the Special Forces, we whooped them all. Pastor Fox probably disagree with me on that. The difference is that the American military were under the rules of engagement, and they had to abide by the Geneva Convention. We were told no such things. So therefore, we would invent scenarios that would literally just tear them up. Now you have to understand, being Op 4, we was always on the offensive. It was their job to come and find us and to root us out. And we would do stupid stuff like put an MRE box in the middle of the road and watch a convoy stop and watch some idiotic officer just get out and try to recon and look at the MRE box, and then we would shoot them. And we would shoot the whole convoy, and we would do all these things. I'm saying this right on the heels of Pastor Fox's video that he just did. You know, I think that many of you people out there should actually pay attention. When I say something, and especially when Pastor Fox says something, when we're talking about scenarios, a world without rule of law, such as these snipers, you know, I'm not speaking out the side of my neck. I told you some time ago, and I'm going to keep on saying it again and again and again. And just like he says, you know, the people that are in our inner circle, we share a lot more information, meaning wisdom that we've learned and gained from the military, than what you probably hear on here. I'm usually, you know, most people think that will say anything, but the truth is, everything I say is very calculated. I know what to say and what not to say. And if I say something that's getting over the line, I got friends, like my brother, Pastor Fox. He'll call me up or he'll email me or text me, come on, Pastor. And because sometimes I get, you know, I'm pretty passionate. I get pretty excited and stuff, and he'll reel me in, which I thank you for, Pastor. Thank you. But we usually would win because we would set the scenario. We would determine on our own terms, unless they actually perhaps maybe one day came up on our position and we wasn't expected them, which happens at times too. But we were so good. Even before, you know, they started all this door-to-door. I'm trying to speak things in such a way that the civilian mind can understand. I remember when we started this mock-up door training. You know, we would do a lot of role playing at Op 4. And we would have townships build. We would go in and speak to the mayors, and they would have security detail. Anyway, nevertheless. But usually, if you listen to our videos, you listen to them pretty closely, we usually tell you, and we usually give you a lot of information, a whole lot of information concerning what we believe to be in the future possible scenarios that you're going to be dealing with. Now, we've had snipers strategically placed in high altitude areas, and they had a very good position, firing over the protesters and actually picking off the police. Now, whether you like it, understand it or not, especially if you understand military tactics, they successfully completed their task. I'm with Pastor Fox. I see a lot of ignorant people on there hollering false flag, false flag, false flag, false flag, when they really truly don't even know what a false flag is. But the CIA, you got to understand this. Places I went in the world, CIA, Special Forces, a lot of times you wouldn't even know that they were soldiers because of the way that they carried themselves. Sometime when I would come home from field exercises, Sister Carol would see me and I'd have this on. And you would never even know that I was actually even in the military by the way that I looked. So I'm trying to tell you that there are units in the military that are totally different than the regular Army than what you would normally see on CNN, Fox News, ABC, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He is letting the cat out of the bag, and he is giving you a little bit more information that the next scenario is, and we used to do this a lot now before. We used to go into a camp, and we would do this at night when we were going on a raid, and we'd get past the guards, and we'd get in the middle of camp, and we'd start hollering all type of propaganda, and we'll shoot up in the air, and as the people would come out of the tents, we would shoot them. Pow, 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 pow. I mean, light them up good. And of course, the OCs would take the mouse gear and they would beep, 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 shoot them all. You're dead, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead. But especially if we would steal their munitions and use it against them. We did a lot of things. And it's looking like, and I want to say this to you, I understand movements like Black Lives Matter, different protests and stuff, but listen to Pastor Don, listen real close. Population centers and areas that are very populated and condensed. You don't want to be caught in a lot of these areas because, think about this, we just had a little mini conflict in a metropolitan area in the United States of America. Do you really truly want your family caught in a crossfire between what they were called tangos or terrorists? While you out there peacefully protesting? Yeah, you can peacefully protest, but ask yourself a question, because the next terrorist attack or the next conflict that we have on this soil could possibly be somebody shooting at the police in a crowd and then the police returning fire. And then at that time, you're going to have a crossfire from hell, and you're going to have a whole lot more chaos on your hands. Now, what am I saying? Well, I'm saying a lot of things here, and one thing I am saying is that you need to be very careful of your position. You need to be very careful of where you go, the things you decide to involve yourself in, because things are changing. It's obvious that our government is not prepared. It's obvious that they have the wrong people in place in order to deal with things like this. Myself and Pastor Fox even offered training for churches in order to be able to handle someone that want to come in like Dalen Roof did and shoot up your members in South Carolina. And we had 2 or 3 churches call us up. But you know what's sad about it is, I let them talk with Pastor Fox about the logistics and everything. And nobody wanted to actually pay our plane fare, and nobody wanted to actually pay the fee that Pastor Fox was asking for. It's sad, literally sad. And we're offering them some of our experience. I mean, when you deal with Pastor Fox, a 10 years Special Forces officer, and then you deal with me, Pastor Fox, 20 years Special Forces officer, you deal with me 10 years, United States Army paratrooper, both of us air assault qualified, both of us has been in places, been in units, that when we talk to you about a lot of things, we know what we're talking about. Kind of like when we're quoting you the Bible and you don't like it. I think you ought to consider what we're saying from these, especially veterans like us, because we're trying to do our best to protect you. But if you're listening to me, don't you ever be caught in a metropolitan area protesting peacefully. Because you got to ask yourself a question. Do you really truly want to be caught in a situation like that, even though you have the right to protest? Because that day could be your last day. Those guys had it together. Whether we like it or not, they knew exactly what they were doing. They picked the most opportune time. They had it together, and they were very smart, extremely smart. I think we have a lot of people in our government that has a lot to do with these things, because I'm going to end this video on this. It's funny how all these things are taking place right at the prefaces of an election year.